So I recently rewatched the live-action Scooby-Doo movies from the early 2000s. A quick review of those movies. Peak. And I got a little depressed like I always do after I finish the second one because there's no third one to watch. They had plans to make a third one, it's just the second one underperformed a little bit. It did make like $100 million less than the first one. I'm also pretty sure the actor for Fred wasn't interested in returning, so who knows how that would have turned out. But like either way, I would have just loved to have gotten that third one, just have this peak Scooby-Doo trilogy. And an interesting thing about those movies is that they were actually written by James Gunn. The third one was even going to be directed by him. And ever since James Gunn got announced to be the CEO of DC and he has like this big connection to Warner Bros. Right now, I was just thinking in the back of my head, like, what would be the chances that he would pull some strings to greenlit that Scooby-Doo 3? I know I would fucking love it. But let's say that it was happening. A Scooby-Doo 3 was officially announced to be in the works by James Gunn on Twitter or something. Actually, probably on Threads. That's where his whole life is. How would that movie look? Maybe they would go with the same idea they had for a third movie. We actually got a little synopsis a few years ago from James Gunn himself on how that third movie might have looked. And the movie didn't like sound bad or anything, but like maybe just a tad bit underwhelming. It did have like this semi-twist to it, which maybe that would have been like the big awe of the movie. But like when looking at the first, like you had the first movie where like the gang broke up, they went to this like spooky island, which was so cool. You had like a real monster in there. You actually even had a bit of a twist villain in there. Then you go to the second one, where you bring back monsters from Scooby-Doo's past, like all the different cartoons in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. You have them come to life. I think Scooby-Doo 2 is like the best piece of content Scooby-Doo has ever produced. I think that movie is incredible. So then what they were planning to do for a third one, it just kind of sounded like a bit of a downgrade from the first two. Like not really like the third movie in the trilogy where they were trying to, go even bigger in the second one, but they were actually trying to be smaller than like even the first one. And I don't know, maybe it would have been sick, but here's my pitch for Scooby-Doo 3 and what I think would just be like, whoa, if they did for the third movie. A crossover with fucking Batman. Like, that is where you take a third movie in the trilogy. Like, the idea of the world's greatest detective teaming up with the world's probably most well-known, like, mystery solvers. Like, maybe Sherlock Holmes is the only competition there. But, like, in pop culture and media, I'd probably say it is more so the mystery gang, like, Scooby-Doo. The thing about Scooby-Doo is that he basically is part of the DC universe. Like, he's had a few crossovers even with Batman. Literally, back in 1972, they had Batman Scooby-Doo crossover. And I watched that movie actually a lot as a kid. It was a really good movie. They had another crossover with Batman the Brave and the Bold. That one wasn't as good. And they even had another one where it's like Scooby-Doo and Crypto teaming up. I haven't actually seen that one, but that idea does sound so freaking cool. They had a few comics, and there was even a reference to Scooby-Doo and fucking Creature Commandos. Like, come on. So like I said earlier, this is in the context that this movie got announced like right now, so we're probably going to be seeing it in like 2028, 2029. So I'm going to be very realistic on like who I can bring back, because right away the first person that comes to mind that would make a great crossover with Scooby-Doo would be Adam West's Batman. But obviously he did pass away, so that one's just basically impossible. Looking at our present day Batmans, we have like one and a half. We have the Robert Pattinson Batman, which just wouldn't fucking work with the Mystery Inc. gang. That Batman is just too depressed, too brooding. Like, he is brooding as Batman and as Bruce Wayne. And the Bruce Wayne persona is usually the one where he's all like not caring, the rich spoiled billionaire and stuff. He doesn't even have that, so like this one just wouldn't work. And I said 1.5 because there's also the DCU Batman, but that one is a little bit trickier because obviously we know like nothing about it. I think that one would probably work better than Pattinson because I think it will be as dark of a Batman. He's the Batman I could honestly see having the underwear on the outside. He's gonna be in this fantastical world. Like, honestly, what I pictured the DCU Batman being is who I pictured teaming up with the Mystery Inc. gang. But again, I can't use that one because he doesn't technically exist yet. There's also Ben Affleck's Batman, but I do not see that Batman teaming up with a fucking Scooby-Doo gang. Like, he is just way too aggressive, also pretty brooding. He does have that Bruce Wayne persona where we see a little bit of it in Batman v Superman, but still, he's just a little bit too much on the darker side. There's also Michael Keaton's Batman, who I actually could see it. I think him maybe from the original movies in the 80s and 90s, not so much, but the way he was in The Flash, he was a little bit more like joyful, and some of the interactions he had with Ezra Miller's Flash, I could see some of the interactions with like Shaggy and Scooby-Doo going just like that. So he honestly, I think he could possibly work, but the Batman that I would like to go for, George Clooney Batman. I think he would be just perfect for this. I mean, look at his movie. Like, that is basically like a high budget version of the Adam West Batman. George Clooney as Bruce Wayne, as Batman. He's like smiling all the time and he cracks a few jokes.
7 million. Never leave the cave without it.
That is the Batman that I could really see teaming up with the Mystery Inc. gang, and more specifically, you know, the cast from the live action movies. He did literally come back in The Flash, and that final scene in The Flash where he's talking with Barry, he's like looking around, he's like smiling. I'm like, dude, this guy could really work for this. Would he be down for this? Probably fucking not. I'm pretty sure he even regretted doing that little cameo in The Flash. And I mean, hell, we're already doing this. I wouldn't even mind bringing back Chris O'Donnell as Robin. Could even have him be Nightwing this time around. You could bring back Batgirl. All the interactions you could get between like Robin, Batgirl, Batman, the Scooby-Doo gang, like it would be great. Alright, so now that we got our Batman, what would be the story for this movie? Like, why would Batman and Scooby-Doo be teaming up? So my idea for it was, I'm actually going to take a lot of inspiration from that Scooby-Doo 3 script, and I'm also going to be taking elements from the canceled Batman Unchained. Funny enough, Batman Unchained was basically going to be Batman 3. It was the third movie that Joe Schumacher was going to make, and then we also, you know, have this canceled Scooby-Doo 3 movie. So if we're going to be making a movie with George Clooney's Batman and the original live-action Scooby-Doo cast, like, yeah, just combine the fucking third movie. So the synopsis that we got is that the Mystery Inc. gang are hired by a town in Scotland who complain that they're being plagued by monsters. But we discover throughout the film the monsters are actually the victims. And Scooby-Doo and Shaggy have to come to terms with their own prejudices and narrow belief system. Yes, really. I don't know if I had to add the yes, really part, but it was there, so I read it. And for the canceled Batman Unchained movie, they were actually going to have Scarecrow as the main villain, who was also going to be played by Nicolas Cage, which would have just been insane. I would have loved to see that. And he would be the main villain of this movie. That synopsis from Scooby-Doo 3, like, Scarecrow just perfectly worked as the main villain there. Where the monsters are, like, basically being framed and stuff, like, that literally sounds like a perfect story to use Scarecrow and his fear toxin. Like, that works. There's also this really cool sequence that was going to happen in Arkham Asylum where Batman was going to be hit by the fear toxin and he was just going to be seeing all the villains from his past. I'm talking Jack Nicholson's Joker, Jim Carrey's Batman, Danny DeVito's Penguin, Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. That would have been insane, and they could totally throw that in here. And I can already see it, like Scarecrow got Batman with the fear toxin, so Robin and Batgirl have to team up with the Mystery Gang to save him. I think this would be such a fun crossover. I think a lot of the pieces really work well together, and I think this even sounds like something right up James Gunn's alley. Now, did I cook with this? Potentially. Probably not. And obviously the chances of this happening are low. They're actually like really low. They're like low. Like the chances are so low. Like if I want to find the chances, I have to dig a fucking hole in the ground. And we'll probably never get to see a Scooby-Doo 3 with that original cast. Chances of it is probably like, what, 1 in 1,000?
So you're telling me there's a chance?
And that is the logic that I am gonna go with here. All seriousness, like I think there is just like even that like that slightest hope because of James Gunn's position in, you know, Warner Bros. Right now. I like to think there have been like some conversations or it's crossed his mind or like something. So yeah, here's my pitch for George Clooney's Batman teaming up with the early 2000s live action Scooby-Doo cast.
He will be called upon yet again to save the world.